Argenti yaps your enemies to death with the beauty of a driller, but he also can pack a punch. And today, I'm gonna show you exactly how to unlock that punch. Surely, Argenti values the beauty of the correct relics on him, but pretty much the ugly 4-piece streetwise boxing is the only choice he has. The irony. But I mean, he talks to plants, so who knows what he likes. The physical damage bonus and 25% attack it gives is perfect. It usually takes a little while to stack up, but he will be fine. You can also combine the 2-piece boxing with any other 2-piece like attack or speed. And if you're really desperate, you can get away with a 4-piece musk. Now for his planar ornaments, we have actual choices. Sigonia is top tier, perfect for a pure fiction character like Argenti, as he himself is born and molded for it. In this environment, you will stack up to 40% crit damage in no time. The best part is that you will also get more Izumo drops for your Acheron. The 2-piece Glamoth set is another very good consideration, as you only need 135 speed to enable the lower buff of 12% damage dealt. Do not use that set when you play him with Sparkle, as her advance forward from his skill depends on him being slow. Ernest Salsato is fine too, as it gives really good stats, even though it only buffs his ultimate, as this guy doesn't have any follow-ups. 2-piece Rutilan Arena and Space Sealing Station are also alternatives that you can consider at a similar power level to Ernest Salsato and Glamoth. Now, which stats make our beauty fanatic truly shine? The main stats you want to go with are a crit body, speed on his boots, unless you play him with Sparkle, physical damage sphere, and attack percent on his rope. For his substats, you want to go speed until you hit the breakpoint of 134, then build crit, and finally attack percent. No Knight of Beauty without his trusty weapon, and Argenti is no exception. Of course, the signature is still his best in slot weapon, as it gives more damage based on his massive 180 energy cost of his ultimate, which makes the most use of his uniquely high energy cost. Another Peaceful Day is not particularly a new weapon, but is one of the best for Argenti, giving bonus damage based on the wearer's max energy needed for their ultimate. It misses some stats as it is a 4-star weapon and doesn't come with extra crit damage. Overall, a really decent option. Genius's Repose is a pretty good LC in general, made for pure fiction as it stacks up every single time when you defeat an enemy. Another weapon that is great for pure fiction is Eternal Calculus, rewarding with a ton of stats that you can gain when you hit multiple enemies. The speed that it gives you can make your life easier when you're building him. It's free and it's a weapon that will always be good on the second erudition unit in a J team. The Day the Cosmos Fell is another free weapon that you should 100% pick up. It comes with great stats. With a pure fiction killing machine like Argenti, you will have zero issues to keep up its passive, which wants you to hit at least 2 enemies at a time for a 2-turn passive. Besides these cones, we have some honorable ones like Night on the Milky Way, Seriousness of Breakfast, and Make the World Claimer. To chase his dreams of the undying beauty, a driller, Argenti needs a trusty and dependable team. And yeah, his teams have seen some actual substantial changes. There are 2 ways you can play him. One is hyper carry and the other duo carry. I will cover hyper carry briefly before I go over to duo, and in the meantime tell you in the process why you are wrong to think that hyper carry is the best. Alright, jokes aside, for the hyper carry route, you would find the best synergies with Sparkle, Ruan-Mei, Tingyun, and Bronya. For example, Sparkle, Ruan-Mei, and Ho-Ho will create an excellent hyper team for Argenti, as they cover all bases in terms of skill point economy, great buffs, energy, and sustain. Which doesn't come to a surprise with insanely great supports who come in high demand, especially Ruan-Mei. So if you have to, you could use Bronya instead and replace Ho-Ho with any other skill point friendly sustain. Another team is Tingyun, Ruan-Mei, plus any decent sustain you own. Or you can go for Bronya and Sparkle if you do not want to spare your precious Ruan-Mei. Let's talk about the real deal, duo carry. Real deal because hyper carry Argenti won't pull off alone that type of damage that you can do in certain duo teams. The major centerpiece will be the one support who needs to enable 2 carries. In this regard, Robin has popped off big time. The other big guy is of course Ruan-Mei. No wonder, they are T0 in pure fiction for a reason. But Robin does here even a better job for this specific task. Her attack and damage buffs come huge for Argenti and any other DPS you want to run alongside him. Once you have her, you can go and pair pretty much any 2 AoE DPS into a team and do well. Argenti can be teamed up with Himeko, Herta, and Jade. Whatever fits the challenge, it's a mix and match. But Jade, I must say, is one of the best bets you can make, as long as you face Quantum, of course. The Argenti teams that have her and Robin will completely stomp any other team in the DPS department, especially his hyper carry stuff, and it won't be even close. Even most duo combos you can think of won't reach that level. In this constellation, it will be Jade who will be the major damage dealer. Now, if you happen to own an Aventurine too, you have an absolute crack team in your hands. At least the best when you want to deal with Quantum and Physical. The caveat here is that the combo of Robin, Jade, Aventurine, and of course Argenti himself is of course insanely expensive. But you can build towards a team one by one. You get Robin first, then Jade, and then Aventurine as a matter of order. And of course, aside from Jade, there are other DPS options that do work better than running just hyper carry. You could literally run Ruan-Mei plus Sparkle to buff Argenti, which is his top performing team, or just run a Himeko with S5 Eternal Calculus and a Robin and do about the same damage. So if you own Robin, you can save your Ruan-Mei for another team. Now you know how to build your Argenti and even have the right teams for him. So in case you haven't read up his skill set, here's a little refresher. Before I head over to his investment options, there are certainly some changes there too. Alright, let's start with his normals. They don't do jack, just forget about them. The skill is just plain old slop of damage. You do this because you need energy and do some little damage here and there. The ultimate is only the slightly more wordy part in his very simple kit. It basically comes in 2 different modes. A 90 energy mode that deals some 160% of Argenti's attack as physical damage, and then you get a 180 energy cost ultimate that deals way more damage than the prior one. The main part of the damage is stated with only 280%, but you also get extra damage that hits for 6 times random enemies. That extra damage would average out to another 115% multiplier against 5 enemies. so almost a 400% multiplier in AoE, which is way more than twice of the base version of the burst. Usually I would tell you to just wait until you have this energy completely filled up before you do the big nuke. But in pure fiction, if enemies just keep dying faster, or better said, a regular burst would be enough to delete them, it would be just better to use the small version, as anything else would just be pure overkill. So basically use the right tools for the right job. You already heard it. Our guy has a humongous energy needs. For exactly that reason, he gets 3 energy for every enemy he hit with his talent. Doesn't matter if it is his skill, basic attack, ultimate. So it's clear that it works best in pure fiction. Once more, cementing his direction as an AoE monster. On top, gets a stack of apotheosis that gives him 2.5%, which can stack up to 10 times for 25% in total. When Argenti uses his technique, you will leave enemies dazzled for 10 seconds. They will be completely enamored with his beauty, unable to attack him. And once you are in combat, Argenti will deal physical damage to all enemies equal to 80% of his attack and regenerate 15 energy. Now let's talk briefly about his ascension passives. Argenti's A2 gives at the start of each turn immediately 1 stack of apotheosis. You can note that his stacks won't disappear, so you stack up quickly and just keep it until the end of the battle. When enemy targets enter battle, he also immediately regenerates energy for himself with his A4. Just as a note, literally in the first cycle, Argenti can easily restore our 135 energy, so this guy is more than fine with his 180 energy needs. And his A6 makes him deal 15% more damage to enemies whose HP is 50% or below that. If you wonder if you should go for Argenti's Lightcone or his Eidolon 1, the answer is just go for Robin. She will be a much bigger increase to him and your account as a whole, over going deeper into Argenti. But let's say you have her already. What's next? You could actually look for other DPS teammates that pair up well with him, so you can form very good duo DPS teams. And pretty much any of them will do better than running hypercarry Argenti. Maybe even put an Aventurine on top of that, so we have a great sustain that goes along well with that fast and frequent playstyle. Plus, that guy is T0 everywhere, so just get him. Okay, you got all of that into place. How about vertical investment now? Most of the time, it won't be worth to go for his signature, as most of the alternatives rank very close to it. Even Herta's erudition, Lightcone, isn't even 10% behind. On the other hand, you have his Eidolon 1, which gives him essentially 40% extra crit damage, so the choice is very clear. Now let's cover the rest of his Eidolons. Argenti's E2 just further cements his role as a pure fiction killing machine. As long as you have more than 3 enemies on the field, you would get a 40% attack increase for 1 turn. It is a decent buff, but not the biggest one. The E3 will increase his skill and talent by 2. With E1 and E4 you will already see a 30% crit rate and 48% crit damage gain over E0. Strong if you have weaker relics, but will diminish a little bit once you have high investment. E5 gives 2 levels of your ultimate and basic attacks. Not the best Eidolon, but it is what it is. E6 might look a little lackluster compared to other top carry E6s, but consider that a lot of his teams do not provide any defense reduction, only attack and crit. Therefore, this is actually a better way to scale further than just stacking even more crit. But on the other hand, it is also true that this Eidolon would be better served as an E2 if he could have something more fancy for his E6. In general, his Eidolons provide a way to further improve Argenti's damage, but it is not the best one. Getting a good duo DPS setup first will yield you so much more mileage. You get the power of 6 poles for the mere price of 3, and you know what? They still do more damage. than just straight up going for e6 Argenti, and you are able to use it elsewhere. Great deal, isn't it? The man already deals what he's supposed to deal at e0, so if you're looking for a very good physical erudition unit with a weird fetish for beauty, you found it in Argenti. Alright, this has been Neostar Impact signing out.